Daily Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.
Tonight on News Hour, President Buhari to take decision on currency redesign in 7 days. Bandits kill over 58 people, leaving hundreds injured in Gangara local government area of Katsina State. All is set for Kano governorship debate. Away from Nigeria, 27 killed in South Sudan on eve of Pope's visit. Hello and welcome to the News Hour on Trust Television. I am Ayuba Ilya. We'll begin today's bulletin with the sights and sounds of the daily struggle of Nigerians trying to get the new Naira note across the country. Take a look.
Where is it?
Now, President Muhammadu Buhari has promised that government will take a decision on the cash swap policy in the next 7 days. He conceded to some governors on the platform of the All Progressives Congress who met with him on Friday at the State House in Abuja that they were closer to the people and were genuinely informed about the hardships stirred up by the policy. The president also said that he had followed television reports about cash shortages and hardship to local businesses and ordinary people, and gave assurances that the next 7 days will be used to crack down on whatever stood in the way of successful implementation of the policy. Kehinde Amodu reports.
The governors had had enough and had instituted this meeting. Sources inside the presidential villa suggest the agenda of the meeting was the hardship Nigerians were currently facing, especially the difficulty caused by the redesign of the Naira notes and the cash withdrawal policy.
Duk mun shugaban kasa wannan bayani kuma ya ce zai samu cikin wannan satin da ya rage dan yau sauran kwana bakwai.
We outlined everything to the president about the problems arising from the shortfall in new Naira notes and the queues and hardships experienced by the people, and he said he would find a way out within 7 days left before the expiration of the currency swap. The president promised that he would get an explanation from the Apex Bank and other banks before taking any decision. We also expressed our concerns to the president that the chaos and repercussion this currency swap could cause might even affect the 2023 general elections, and he said he would definitely look into the matter. Some context to the currency redesign policy was given by the president, who explained that when he considered giving the approval to the policy, he demanded an undertaking from the CBN that no new notes would be printed in a foreign country, and they in turn gave him assurances that there was enough capacity, manpower and equipment to print the currency for local needs. So while the president is dismayed by the difficulties that have risen from the policy, he dismisses some banks as inefficient and stresses that even if a year is added, problems associated with selfishness and greed won't go away. But the governors were adamant, telling the president that they were in support of his decision on the renewal of currency, but pointing out that its execution had been botched.
Our request is for the deadline to be shifted, not only shifted, but the old currency should go along with the new currency until the old currency dies a natural death, which is possible.
The president, it seems, has decided to consult the CBN and the Nigerian Security Printing and Minting Company again to find out what is actually happening, and thereafter take that important decision within the next 7 days. From State House, Abuja, Kehinde Amodu, Trust TV News.
In a similar vein, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, SAN, has expressed concern over the difficulty experienced by Nigerians in getting the new Naira notes. He spoke on Friday during a virtual interactive session with a number of fintech investors and ecosystem players in a bid to find possible ways of mitigating the hardship. Specifically, he urged regulators and the banks to deploy more fintechs and money agents to the hinterlands to address the worrying situation, as cash was needed to make certain transactions. The vice president stressed that it was disturbing that after depositing old notes, there are no new notes, so people everywhere in the urban areas and rural areas simply do not have the money. He also observed that while there had always been a certain failure rate in online banking and money transactions, which had intensified with the increase in the number of transactions congesting the system. Now, on the flip side of the cash crunch, price of grains has crashed in Gombe market as scarcity of new notes continues to take toll on the grain sellers. Trust TV's Ibrahim Ismail, who visits Cham Grain Market, reports that price of maize that sells for 22,000 naira a bag crashed to 16,000 naira and below.
In the last 2 weeks, prices of maize that used to be 22,000 naira at this grain market located in Cham, Balanga local government area of Gombe State, has crashed to as low as 14,000 naira. Soybean that was sold 30,000 now sells for 18,000 naira. Speaking on the development, the chairman of Cham Grain Market attributed the price fall to scarcity of the redesigned notes. A bag of soybean that sold for 30,000 is now 20,000 naira. Sorghum is now 15,000 naira. The policy has affected our business seriously. Farmers and other grain sellers react to the drop in prices of the commodities. I used to bring between 2 to 15 bags of grains here. I sold at prices ranging between 20,000 naira up to 30,000 naira. But today I am looking for a buyer at 20,000 naira. I couldn't. I have taken the grains back home. My family has nothing to eat right now.
I usually used to come to this market to purchase grains, more precisely soybeans. And due to the recent situation we found ourselves in, of this current currency swapping, I found it very difficult to gather cash and take it to this market. As a result of this currency swap, usually I used to come with at least 10 million to this market, but today there's nowhere, not in the bank, not in the market, not in the house, there's nowhere to find such amount of cash. All our money we have deposited back to the bank, and the bank are not giving us back our money. So indirectly we were made as slaves. We are all slaves now of central bank and the financial institution.
The question is, could the falling price of grains rise again as scarcity of the redesigned notes continues to impact on businesses? Only time will tell. From Gombe, Ibrahim Ismail reporting for Trust TV.
The governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, has begged Nigerians to endure the challenges associated with the circulation of redesigned Naira notes. The unavailability of the redesigned 200, 500 and 1,000 naira notes have caused untold hardship on Nigerians, leading to protest and demands for concurrent use of the old notes. And Godwin Emefiele, in a briefing in Lagos, said that the benefits of the redesigned notes outweighed the initial challenges, while noting that the Apex Bank is working with other stakeholders to address the logistics challenges. He said that there are enough new notes as well as 100 naira and 50 naira notes and other denominations to meet the needs of Nigerians.
That if, for instance, you go to the bank, you go on a queuing arrangement and they pay 20,000 to some, right? And there are some of you who are not lucky. If you can just show understanding and come back tomorrow, so that if, for instance, the number stopped at say 500 today, then tomorrow we've told the bank start from 501. So which means tomorrow you will get. But what you find is a situation where those who are from 501 and above, they begin to fight or they want to beat up the bank manager. This is not targeted at anybody. We are doing our work in line with our laws. Listen, we are appealing that those who are involved in the protest should not allow themselves to be used. We know for a fact that one of those who carried the banner in Lagos yesterday or day before yesterday was sponsored.
Now, naira scarcity is taking toll on businesses in Abuja despite 10 days extension to the deadline earlier announced by the Central Bank of Nigeria. The Apex Bank's directive to commercial banks to begin payment of the new note over the counter has not ended the scarcity. Noel Samson speaks to business owners in Abuja on the development.
Benjamin Agene is a small business owner in Abuja, and he said low sales is recorded because of scarcity of new naira notes. Agene said the naira redesign policy is hurting small business owners like him.
It's affected a lot of business, not only my own. Many people want to buy something, but they don't have cash to buy. Many to do transfer, network is frustrating seriously. Go to the POS, network. Go to the ATM, no cash. Go to inside bank, they bring 5 naira, 30 naira, give people 1,000 in a day. It's very bad. Ordinary masses, businessmen and women, in fact, civil servants, they are suffering very well. We want government, we appeal to government to set a task force, especially to monitor those banks.
It's very bad though. Concerning the business, some people used to come here to say there's no cash transfer, all this thing is very bad. There's no old notes, new notes. Or we don't even see the new note, the new notes and the old note. Or we don't even see anyone transfer now. Everything is very bad about the new currency or the cashless policy.
Charges for transaction are increased by operators of point of sales, but this operator says continuous scarcity of the currency is not favorable for the business.
We are all feeling it together, not only the POS, even the bankers. You imagine the way the bank is struck, like the way it is now. It has not been that before. So we are all feeling it. Many challenges in terms of network challenges. Is it the crowd? It is the cash for you to be able, the cash access. The cash is not accessible like before. You can't just go to the bank and withdraw. No, many challenges.
Business owners and other Nigerians want the government to look into the suffering before it escalates further. Noel Samson, Trust TV News, Abuja.
In the meantime, angry youths have taken to the streets of Ibadan to register total displeasure over what they termed as worsening economic situation across the country, compounded by non-availability of new currency notes and fuel scarcity. The youths took their frustration a step further by invading the Agodi Secretariat, destroying properties with a promise not to go back down until the central authorities accede to their demands. The report.
It is a situation that has reached boiling point for these youths who have taken their frustration a step further. Not done, they took their anger to the seat of power, Agodi Secretariat, destroying everything in sight.
Come out to say enough of the suffering, and you have seen that this time around it's unlike the normal protests that we used to have. These people are annoyed, they are bitter, and they are fighting, if possibly violently, and they are saying they are unstoppable. And what you have just seen so far is just a tip of the iceberg. The Nigerian people have been told that Monday more actions will come, that if government does not reverse such wicked policies that they have doled out that is working against the Nigerian people.
There is no fuel, there is no light, there is no anything. Which country are we? So if everybody has his own way to go to another place, he will leave this country. Because this is the only language our government know. If we talk to them gently, they will not hear. But as the protest now today, I think they will know that something is happening in the country.
The shocking incident forced businesses to shut down while stranded bank customers were left helpless, with school children forced to go home to seek refuge.
It's our government. The way they do this Nigeria now, we don't understand. Maybe it be like say, what do you call it? Like UFATO, or what do you call it? Interim government. So I never see this type since I was born. I never see this type of thing.
We need God to just come in and intervene at the moment, because things are not going well for everybody at the moment. Very, very tough. If you go deep inside everybody now, some are even dead at the moment.
When the dust settled, residents were left in awe. They want government to address the issue of fuel scarcity, non-availability of new currency notes, and the scary economic situation.
If you notice those that came, I don't think they have jobs. Those that came here are hoodlums. Because if they are okay, I don't think they will consider so low, continue to burn damaging properties. It's uncalled for. It's uncalled for. What they are agitating for, it is a policy that affects every Nigerian. So they should just take it easy and let's find solution. Government will find solution to it.
Nigerians should be patient. We will all get there. The monies are coming into circulation. And if we all take what we're supposed to take, what we are entitled to, it will go round.
As at the time of filing this report, the state joint security outfit known as Operation Burst, some police officers, including Amotekun officers, were on ground to maintain law and order.
In a related development, residents in Uwi and Warri South local government area of Delta State on Friday took to the streets protesting against lack of new and old Naira notes and the hardship they face to access money kept in the bank. The protest forced some commercial banks to suspend activities as scores of market women barricaded the Warri-Sapele Road and NPA Expressway in protest of the Naira crisis bedeviling the country. The protesters besieged the entrance of some commercial banks located near Main Market in Warri. The traders who bore placards and leaves lamented the inability to sell their goods in the past few days owing to the cashless policy of the Central Bank of Nigeria and scarcity of the redesigned Naira note. And on security matters, about 25 terrorists armed with AK-47 rifles ambushed residents of Bakori and Kankara communities where 58 people were killed in cold blood. According to reports, the bandits rustled some cows around Jaragaba village of Bakori local government area and moved toward Yargoje in Kankara local government area on Thursday afternoon. Bewildered and tired of such reoccurrences, the cattle owners and some villagers mobilized and trailed the bandits. People of the affected communities have since fled their villages to neighboring towns for safety. In a telephone chat with Trust TV in Katsina, some eyewitnesses confirmed the incident and expressed worry over the rate of reoccurrence of such acts and the inaction of security operatives. They said that the incident occurred on Thursday afternoon, but up to Friday morning, there was no security presence either at the scene or anywhere around. As at the time of compiling this report, corpses of the victims can be seen unattended, laying at the scene of the attack. When contacted, the police spokesman in Katsina, SP Gambo Isa, said that the command has dispatched operatives to the area to ascertain the level of damage. Similarly, the special advisor to Governor Masari on security matters, Ibrahim Katsina, said that the government is on top of the matter and there is no cause for alarm. A high court sitting in Port Harcourt has convicted and sentenced to death by hanging two former members of the disbanded Special Anti-Robbery Squad for extrajudicial killing. 5 members of the SARS team, Samuel Chigbu, Shedrack Ibibo, Magus Awuri, Augoligo, and Olisa Emeka, were standing trial for killing Michael Ako and Michael Igwe while in their custody for allegedly stealing recharge cards in Oyibo local government area in 2015. But ASP Samuel Chigbu and Ogoligo died in custody at the Correctional Center in Port Harcourt, while Shedrack Ibibo, Magus Awuri, and Olisa Emeka continued with their trial. The trial judge, Justice M.O. Opara, in her judgment found Shedrack Ibibo and Magus Awuri guilty of conspiracy to murder, while Olisa Emeka was acquitted. Speaking to journalists after the judgment, the State Prosecution Council expressed happiness, saying that justice has been served. The Jama'atu Nasrul Islam has called on the federal government to investigate all its security agencies, especially the Nigerian Air Force, over the airstrikes in Doma local government area of Nasarawa State, in which 40 herders were killed. In a statement signed by its Secretary General, Khalid Abubakar Aliyu, JNI said that the incident was a calculated attempt to instill fear among farmers and herders so as to jeopardize the frantic efforts of mutual harmony that has been built by the relevant stakeholders, especially the Nasarawa State government in recent years. It also called on relevant security agencies to mop up all small arms and light weapons in the hands of criminals, or else Nigeria will continue to witness the rise in arms proliferation for self-defense among citizens, since the government is seemingly not so disposed to doing so. He said that the federal government should pay compensation to the bereaved families for equity, justice, and for closing any possibility of vengeance or reprisal. Then the JNI further urged the government to spare no efforts to immediately provide support to all the affected communities. Now, at least 24 people trapped in the story building that collapsed in Abuja have been rescued. Head of Operations Federal Fire Service, Zacchaeus Adebayo, and Director, Federal Capital Territory Emergency Management, Abbas Idris, commended rescue operations, warning residents against use of substandard building materials. Kabir Lawal reports.
The building collapse on Thursday has been attributed to use of substandard product. Though fatality figure is low, many sustained injuries. Head of Operation Fire Service, Zacchaeus Adebayo, said that so far, 24 people have been rescued, adding that 3 people lost their lives, while the injured ones have been taken to hospital for treatment.
The updates presently is we have so far brought out 24 lives. 21 were rescued alive, while 3 were fatally injured. And all of them have been taken to different hospitals in Abuja receiving treatment now. All the stakeholders are on the ground, and we have been charged to take up our responsibility to ensure that safety of life and protection of properties are very, very adhered to in FCT.
Director General, FCT Federal Emergency Management Agency, Abbas Idris, lauded the collaboration of all security agencies for keeping the area calm, saying that FEMA will not relent in its efforts to curb such ugly incident.
As you can see, the rescue mission is still going on, and we have so far rescued 24 persons, 21 alive, 3 badly injured, and those that were rescued alive have been receiving treatment in different medical facilities within the city. So at this moment, we are trying to get to ground zero to ensure that nobody is left out on the ground.
Ishaku Mohammed, FCT coordinator, Standard Organization of Nigeria, said the organization has already picked most materials used from the collapsed building for investigation, which will go a long way to avert frequent building collapse.
So as soon as we get the report of the incident, we are directed to come to the site and see for ourselves what happened, pick samples of materials used, because basically most of the materials used are iron rods, cements, the gravels, and all the necessary things that are needed to construct any structure like this. So we are here to do a kind of preliminary investigation, take samples, take to the lab, find out whether it is the right kind of material that is being used for the purpose of it. That's all I have.
Abuja residents have been urged not to compromise quality of building materials to enable them meet the required standard in the Federal Capital Territory. Kabir Lawal, Trust TV News, Abuja.
You're watching the News Hour on Trust Television. Coming up shortly, we'll take a look at how 4 school pupils were rescued. Details of this and more after the break. This is Trust TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
At last, the elections are here. Let's turn out en masse on election day and vote Asiwaju Bola Tinubu as President of Nigeria for a renewed hope and a better Nigeria. Vote APC, the party that shows a broom.
Media Trust Group, in collaboration with the Center for Democracy and Development, presents the 2023 Kano gubernatorial debate, featuring candidates of 4 major political parties: Nasir Yusuf Gawuna of the APC, Bashir Ishaq Bashir of the Labour Party, Abba Kabir Yusuf of the NMPP, and Muhammad Abacha of the PDP. Date: Saturday, 4th February 2023. Time: 10 a.m. Venue: Bayer University Kano New Site. The event is strictly by invitation and no political supporters are expected at the venue.
I will be there.
I will be there.
I will be there.
Media partners: Express Radio 90.3 FM, Nasara Radio 98.5 FM, Freedom Radio, and ARTV Kano. The debate will be broadcast live on Trust TV and other channels across the country.
Welcome back from that break. You're watching the News Hour on Trust Television. Here's a look at the top stories again. President Buhari to take decision on currency redesign in 7 days. Bandits killed 30 people, leaving hundreds injured in Gangara local government area of Katsina State. Now, ahead of Saturday's Media Trust Group gubernatorial election debate in Kano State, prospective voters say that they expect candidates to focus on issues that will help address the state's developmental challenges. Trust TV correspondent Idris Jibrin reports that organizers of the debate say that all arrangements have been completed to ensure successful conduct of the debate. The report.
The politically advanced Kano State is once again on the defining moment. It's election time, and the people of Kano seems to know exactly who to vote, and Media Trust Group know exactly how to ensure their voices are heard.
The whole idea behind the organization of this election debate is to allow both the electorate and the candidates to talk to one another. The candidates to tell their manifestos, what they have for the voters when they vote them, and then as well as the voters to have first-hand information from those candidates why they should vote for a certain candidate.
Dr. Gambana Baba is a member of the planning committee for this year's Media Trust gubernatorial election debates in Kano. He assures that all arrangements have been completed to ensure the successful conduct of the debate come Saturday, February the 4th.
We have made the candidates, those candidates we have invited for the debate, and all of them, they have given us their commitments, their promise to attend. We have also secured the venue. The venue is Bayero University, Kano. We thank the management of the university for giving us the opportunity. The debate is going to be in English. And inshallah, our partners, the selected partners who have agreed to partners with us in the state, the radio stations in the state, they are going to broadcast the debate live.
Eager, anxious, and optimistic, voters in Kano believe that the debate will in no doubt give them the opportunity to interact head-to-head with their candidate and to obtain first-hand information on what each candidate has to offer if eventually elected into office.
We are expecting different missions from those candidates, because they are going to tell us their opinions and the things that they should do for Kano State, as we facing different difficulties, right? So they can just use to tell us the solutions that they will provide when they become, or let me say, when they become the governor of Kano State.
We expect the best and the very best from them because Kano State is facing different difficulties in different phases. Insecurity, we lack electricity supply and many more.
We expect them to fulfill their promises they make to the people, like building more boreholes, because some of the communities here in Kano are facing problems with they don't have enough water, like insecurity, lights.
For the competing political parties, voters in Kano should expect a well-structured presentation based on their blueprint of a sustainable socio-economic development of Kano.
I think the Kano State indigenous citizens should expect a detailed plan that is concise and that is backed up by actionable points from my candidates, our candidates, the candidate of People's Democratic Party, Alhaji Mohammed Sani Abacha, a candidate that has a wealth of experience, a successful businessman, a quintessential Nigerian who has been in active politics since the return of democracy in 1999.
What the Kano State people will hear from my candidate, Engineer Abba Kabir Yusuf, is like detailed plan that we already have in our blueprint, which we developed, which was unveiled sometimes in December to Kano people. So in that blueprint, we clearly outline sector by sector what we have in store for Kano people once they elected us into power, they voted us into power.
My candidate, Engineer Isaac Bashir, being the most competent among all the candidates, he's going to talk about issues, real issues affecting the people and proper solutions on how to tackle those issues. So people of Kano State should expect to hear some valid points regarding what is happening in Kano State and how he's going to provide solutions to all those problems.
Those expected to attend the Saturday's debate include the gubernatorial candidate of the All Progressive Congress, Nasiru Yusuf Gawuna, Bashir Ishaq Bashir of the Labour Party, Abba Kabir Yusuf of the New Nigeria People's Party, and Muhammad Abacha of the People's Democratic Party. Idris Jibrin, Trust TV News, Kano.
Staying with political matters, the All Progressives Congress presidential candidate Bola Tinubu has said that some individuals behind the fuel crisis, the redesign of the Naira note, meant to create instability, and people should use their permanent voter cards to liberate themselves. Tinubu made the remarks at the presidential campaign rally in Ado-Ekiti, where he said that the election is not about him. Tinubu called on the people who have not collected their PVCs to do so. The Chairman Senate Committee on Judiciary, Human Rights and Legal Matters, Opeyemi Bamidele, said that Tinubu has developed a workable blueprint to rewrite Nigeria's history and inject good governance in the body politic, assuring that he is not seeking power to gamble with Nigeria's destiny. In his remarks, the Ekiti State Governor Abiodun Oyebanji said that the party needed little or no campaign for Tinubu, adding that the people of the state will reward him with their vote because of his good deeds. Now, the presidential candidate of the People's Redemption Party, PRP, Kola Abiola, says that he has the magic wand to turn around the fortunes of Nigeria for good, as well as free her citizenry from the shackles of poverty, lack and want. Abiola gave this assurance in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital, during the flag off of campaign activities in the southwest.
It is the visit of the presidential campaign train of the People's Redemption Party and its team to the ancient city of Ibadan. Leaders of the party say they are determined to make life more rewarding for the ordinary Nigerian. They said that the party has the capacity to reposition the country back to the cornerstone of African development.
We have done it before. We can do it again. We are out to redeem the teeming poor people in Nigeria. Nigeria has become the capital of poverty in the world. We have 122 people that are below the poverty line.
So today, PRP is calling women, all the women, to come out and vote. If you are tired of being in the other room, come out. If you are tired of being only in the kitchen, come out. If you are tired to wait for your husband to come back 1 a.m. because there is no money in the pocket, come and vote PRP.
Other candidates spoke about their plans for the people if given the opportunity to serve.
PRP, it is people first, and that is what we believe we are going to do, and that is what God will give us the capacity to do. I'm very much concerned about education, in which we are talking of quality free education for the primary and the secondary students, while for the tertiary we are talking of the educational loan.
Presidential candidate of the PRP, Kola Abiola, assured that his party would ensure real hope for ordinary Nigerians with a promise to save the citizenry from the current state of hopelessness.
Basically, it's security, infrastructure, agriculture, human rights, education, and more importantly, the issue of true federalism. We are the only party for the past 50 years that has had that as a manifesto item consistently over those periods.
The PRP presidential candidate, Kola Abiola, is the elder son of MKO Abiola, the acclaimed winner of the June 12, 1993 presidential election, which was annulled by the military. The PRP presidential campaign also featured the presentation of flags to representatives of its 716 candidates for elective seats in the forthcoming general election.
In a related development, the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, has promised to address banditry, kidnapping, cattle rustling and terrorism, which have crippled economic activities in Zamfara State if elected as Nigeria's president come February 25. The LP presidential candidate made the pledge while in Gusau, the Zamfara State capital, when Labour Party presidential campaign train stopover to canvass the votes of electorate ahead of the February 25 and March 11, 2023 general elections. Addressing supporters at the Labour Party presidential rally in Gusau, The presidential candidate, Peter Obi, assured residents that he will tackle the prevailing security challenges, poverty, hunger, unemployment, among others, if given the mandate.
Labour Party! Papa, Mama! Papa, Mama! Mine is a very simple one. Our job is simple. Our job is to ensure that we build and pull people out of poverty. Our job is to secure you, to ensure that security is done for us. Our job is to ensure that you're no longer hungry. To ensure that you go to school, you're provided with a job.
The Controller General, Federal Fire Service, Jaji Abdulganiyu, said that the service is working on a plan that will protect the Independent National Electoral Commission's facilities, polling units and collation centers during and after the forthcoming elections from fire attacks and outbreaks. This was part of the highlights of a brainstorming session aimed at providing fire cover for the general elections in Abuja on Wednesday. The report.
As Nigerians go to the polls, the need to ensure fire cover for all and sundry before, during and after the election is emphasized at the brainstorming session by head of department and commanding officers of the Federal Fire Service. The controller of the Federal Fire Service, Engineer Abdulganiyu Jaji, said the session is important to protect the electoral process from political hoodlums and other criminal elements who might want to use fire attacks to frustrate the process.
The recent attack of INEC offices across the country placed a burden on our soldiers as a fire officer to ensure that this ugly situation is nipped to the bud. This brainstorming section will provide an opportunity to have a robust engagement drawing from our resources and experience strategies. By coming together to brainstorm, we can create a safe and more secure environment to foster future attack of INEC infrastructures, personnel, and to safeguard the electoral process from political hoodlums and enemies of the state, who now use the fire attack as a tool to frustrate INEC in the discharge of their statutory mandates.
He said the federal government has approved the immediate effect of 8 state-of-the-art fire trucks, while expecting 15 more in the coming days.
We hope that the fire trucks that has been delivered, that we are now sending to various states and various zones, we work assiduously for the purpose of that election.
He condemned any form of attack on firefighters in the strongest possible term and said appropriate measures will be taken against the perpetrators within the confines of the law. Martia Umar, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Now, as Nigerians prepare to elect new leaders a few weeks from now, the Interfaith Dialogue Forum for Peace has called on the electorate and politicians to ensure peaceful conduct at the forthcoming elections. They urged religious bodies in the country to work together to ensure that all voters are empowered with enough information that will enable them to make wise choices and implications of letting their voices be heard. The report.
Challenges of managing Nigeria's religious and ethnic diversities have over time been allowed to promote primordial interests. However, religious and traditional leaders still have a strategic role to play in building a sustainable and peaceful environment in the electoral process. The Interfaith Dialogue Forum for Peace is therefore stressing the need for leadership with respect for the nation's diversity in ethnicity, religious beliefs, and affiliations.
In safeguarding the elections
we must ensure that matters are not exaggerated and reactions to ethnic tensions are proportionally to the issues at hand so that peace will reign at every point. We must stand to safeguard the forthcoming election in the context of ethno-religious sentiments by providing support and protection for those who are likely to be in great need of assistance, particularly people living with disabilities. IDFB urges the building of strong and resilient ethno-religious structures that emphasizes religious harmony, inclusive leadership, and social justice.
They urged that sanctions should be meted out to all electoral offenders without fear or favor.
We also call on security agents that no one is above the law in Nigeria, whether aspirant or candidate who has gone out of the law should handle him appropriately. We believe this will assist us to become a very vibrant and developed nation.
The group maintained that with the election approaching, it is the right of the electorate to insist on good governance for national development rather than mortgaging their future. Aisha Salihu, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Now, 4 of the remaining pupils who were abducted in Doma local government area of Nasarawa State have been rescued. The pupils of local educated authority primary school, Al-Waza Nasarawa, spent 2 weeks in captivity. Umar Muhammad sent in the report.
A total of 6 pupils of primary school, Al-Waza in Doma local government area were abducted. 2 were later released. The remaining 4 in captivity have now been rescued. However, a top military officer from 4 Special Forces Command, Doma Barracks, who preferred anonymity, said that the victims were dumped at Bogio in Doka Electoral Ward in Doma local government area at the early hours of Friday morning unhurt, adding that no ransom was paid for their release.
We are here because we have secured the release of the remaining 4 pupils of Al-Waza Primary School that were once adopted exactly 15 days ago. Basically in Doka region of Doma Local Government Council, and it involves the joint effort of both the local government, the traditional council, the communities, and the security operatives. We have secured their release, and by the grace of God, we have them in our hands. As you can see, we're in the hospital now to verify that. We have taken them to the hospital, and right now the medical personnel are doing their job. No ransom was paid. I'm telling you categorically clear now that it's the joint effort of the community, the traditional council, the local government, and security operatives. And going by the recent incident, you do not just go and you find, you do not go and meet the adopters directly. They will definitely give you a point where you have the adoptees. And we thank God Almighty, we have them in our hands safely.
Police, in a statement signed by Public Relations Officer DSP Raman Nansel, explained that the rescue was a joint operation carried out by security operatives in the state.
Time now for us to take a quick break. The news hour continues shortly. Join us again.
The FCT administration has observed an increase in the influx of street beggars into the city and metropolis. When you give alms directly to street beggars, you encourage this unwholesome practice with its attendant risks to all. Remember, street begging remains banned in the FCT. Residents are encouraged to channel their alms through recognized channels as the churches, mosques, and orphanages. A better approach which still guarantees the reward of your kind gesture, as neither Islam nor Christianity encourages begging. This way, we can rid the city of this menace. To keep Abuja safe is our collective responsibility. Play your part. This message is from the FCT administration.
Welcome back from that break. This is the News Hour on Trust Television. Time for us to take a look at business updates presented by Chiamaka Nwafo.
The exchange rate between the Naira and the US dollar weakened at the black market on Friday to trade at an average of 748 Naira to a dollar, representing a 0.4% depreciation compared to 745 Naira to a dollar recorded on Thursday. Also, the exchange rate at the investors and reporters window depreciated marginally to 462 Naira to a dollar, following a streak of stability for 3 consecutive days at 461 Naira 50 Kaba to a dollar. Forex turnover, however, increased by 13.27% on Thursday to $119.35 million from $105.37 million that exchanged hands on Wednesday. Nigeria's dollar-denominated government bonds declined on Friday ahead of a review of its credit rating by S&P Global. The decline is coming around the same time the country was downgraded by another rating agency, Moody's. According to a Reuters report, Nigeria's bonds dropped as much as 2.659 cents in the dollar, with the 2038 maturity falling the most, down to 69.189 cents. Last week, Moody's downgraded Nigeria to CAA1 from B3, saying the government's fiscal and debt position was expected to keep deteriorating. And finally, in stocks, the Nigerian exchange NGX closed positive amidst buy interest in sell-offs as bulls dominated proceedings, driving up the broad market. Now, the all-share index ASAI appreciated by 2.29% to close at 54,213.09 points. Market capitalization grew by 117 billion naira to close at 29.528 trillion naira, while the year-to-date return settled at 5.07%. Market break closed positive as Red Starex led 35 gainers and 10 losers, topped by Ikeja Hotel at the end of Friday's session. On the aggregate, a volume of 268 million units of shares valued at 2.35 billion naira was traded in 4,017 deals. On the aggregate, a volume of 268 million units of shares valued at 2.35 billion naira was traded in 4,017 deals. That's it on Business News. I am Chiamaka Nwafo.
Now, away from Nigeria, 27 people have been killed in South Sudan's central equatorial state in tit-for-tat violence between cattle herders and members of a militia on the eve of a visit to the country by Pope Francis. The Pope is set to arrive from the neighboring Democratic Republic of Congo, hoping to revive a peace process aimed at ending a decade of conflict fought mostly on ethnic lines that has killed hundreds of thousands of people. A peace deal signed in 2018 by the main parties in a civil war from 2013 to 2018 has significantly reduced violence in South Sudan in recent years, but lower-level clashes between rebel communities regularly flare up. In one of the most remarkable gestures of his papacy, Pope Francis knelt to kiss the feet of South Sudan's previously warring leaders during a meeting at the Vatican in April 2019, urging them not to return to civil war. The Peruvian Congress has voted down another proposal to bring forward elections to 2023, a day after similar bid was turned down amid nationwide protests that are shaking the country's economy. The motion put forward by the Free Peru Party was rejected on with 75 votes against and only 48 in favor, with 1 abstention. In addition to moving elections up from April 2024 to July 2023, the proposal included the calling of a referendum on forming a constitutional convention. Peru has been embroiled in a political crisis with near-daily demonstrations since December 7, when the then-President Pedro Castillo was arrested after attempting to dissolve Congress and rule by decree. Let's now take a look at sports updates presented by Adeni Ajishafe.
Issa Ladamboso's boys and the Zambia junior treated spectators to heartwarming ball control, excellent turns and dribbles, and good positioning play on the turf of Moshood Abiola National Stadium. Though the 7-time African champions could have won by a wider margin without the brilliance of visiting goalkeeper Jeba Tombo. Ayuba Abubakar played the ball too high when Tembo spilled after a pass by Ogbelu Onuche in the 6th minute, and Tembo was on hand to stop an advancing Ibrahim Muhammad 2 minutes later. Riwanu Haliru Seriki's effort from a 20-yard free kick rocked the upright in the 11th minute, and at the other end, Moses Mulenga stretched Nathaniel Wosu from a similar position 6 minutes later. Exciting, Seriki shot wide from a good position in the 27th minute and had his effort punched away in the 33rd. But there was no stopping him in the 39 minutes as he beat 3 defenders to unleash a cannon that Tembo could not stop on his way to the net. Zambia put one back in the 55th minute to equal the tally as Derry Bulaya volleyed past Nwosu for an equalizer from defensive error from Nigeria defenders. Nigeria made it 2-1 in the 63rd minute, courtesy of an effort by Adam Olamilekan. Junior Chipolopolo replied immediately with another goal to make it 2-2, with substitute Lasmon Fury heading past Nwosu from a corner kick with Nigeria defense watching. A defensive blunder allowed substitute Emmanuel Uchebu slam high into the net with Tembo stranded to make it 3-2. Lawal Samson scored the 4th goal for Nigeria in the 86th minute from a far shot to beat Zambia goalkeeper. Zambia Tembo Mavuto appreciated Junior Chipolopolo for their performance as he believed the team had what it takes to do better.
Looking at the pressure that Nigeria has mounted up front, our team needed to be wary of the fact that, you see, they needed to be cautious of the strikers that were approaching. So really, it was a good game. Overall, we can't take it away from Chipolopolo despite having lost by 4-2 scoreline. We feel we still have a long way to go.
Super Eagles coach and technical director Jose Pizarro and Augustine Guavon was on ground toward the match to assess the under-20 team. Flying Eagles coach Ladamboso says despite the win, the technical crew discovered some areas to work on after conceding 2 goals.
For the team going for tournament to concede such careless goals, because the 2 goals were avoidable. So it is what we have atomized, it is what is in our book, it is what is in our record. We have to work on how to avoid those cheap goals.
The junior Chipolopolo will fly to Senegal on Saturday for another friendly match, while the Flying Eagles will head to a final training camp in Morocco on Wednesday to fine-tune their readiness ahead of the under-20 AFCON coming up in Egypt. That's Sport News. I am Adeni Ajishafe.
And with that, we wrap up the news hour for tonight. You can watch more via all our social media platforms and also on our YouTube live stream. I am Ayuba Ila. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.
From the Daily Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.